Stop wasting time chasing down new leads with Kara Pryor, episode 146. Are you ready to make your law firm a profit-generating machine that will free up your time and skyrocket your impact? With more than 2 decades of business growth experience and having proven that you can be successful while prioritizing your family and your impact, introducing the Profit with Law podcast. I am your host, the creator of the Firm Differentiator 10X Effect, Moshe Amsel. Well, hello and welcome to another episode of the Profit with Law podcast. I'm your host, Moshe Amsel, and today is Thursday. We have another stellar, amazing guest interview for you, and I'm really excited about our guest today. She was introduced, actually, I forgot to ask you, I think you were introduced by Maddie Martin from Smith AI. Maddie Martin, love her. She does great introductions, introduces awesome people to me. I'm pretty sure that she introduced Kara Pryor to me. Kara Pryor is the president of James Publishing, co-founder of its marketing amplifier campaign automation software. And we had a great conversation before going live. Sorry, folks, you missed it, but I'm sure that we're going to have even better conversation right now on the recorded show that we're going to share with you. I'm really excited about this. James Publishing has been around for a long time in the legal industry. Kara and James just put on a virtual event that had some great speakers and content on it. She's very in tune with what's going on in the legal industry today, and I think it's going to make for a great conversation. Just a little bit about Kara. Kara Pryor has a rich marketing and writing background, working for several newspapers and managing Entrepreneur Magazine's 100,000 member social network before joining James Publishing 8 years ago. Now, I already said she's the president of James Publishing and co-founder of its marketing amplifier campaign automation software. She spends most of her time strategizing with lawyers about how to maximize their marketing ROI. Love that. Anything that has to do with return on investment, I'm all there. Kara is the co-author of the 145-page book, How Small Law Firms Can Obtain More Referrals. She lives with her husband and 2 young boys in Huntington Beach, California. Kara, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm pleased to be here, and I appreciate the opportunity. Yes, I do believe that Maddie is the one to credit with introducing us, so we appreciate that. Like you said, I really do spend most of my time talking to attorneys about how to improve their marketing, how to really kind of analyze the return that they're seeing on that ever so important investment that they're making. So as you said, I'm the president of James Publishing. James Publishing, if you're not familiar, we've been a legal book publisher for nearly 40 years. So we truly believe that great marketing does start with great content. Content is certainly kind of the foundation of our marketing amplifier system. And I'm really happy to be here. So thanks.
Awesome. So welcome to the show. You have 2 boys. How old are they?
Just turned 1 and just turned 4. So it is a madhouse, but we love it. Yeah.
You have your hands full. And with the COVID pandemic, I know what you're going through. I've got a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old here myself. And it is tough. It is tough to be productive, to get things done, and to lead a professional life when we're parents at home. And this is totally not the topic for today, but I just want to acknowledge you for what you must be dealing with. And, as another parent, I feel you, and we're in this together. We're going to get through it.
Well, I certainly appreciate that. And you are absolutely right. My husband and I, we have a pretty good system down now. At first, it was pretty rough, pretty chaotic, but we're managing. Everyone's happy and healthy. So that's all we can ask for.
That's good. That's good. And you're not anywhere near the fires out in California. I have no idea where.
No, they're kind of up north and inland from us. So there was a period where there was some ash kind of floating around in the air, and it wasn't too great. But we've been we're pretty far away from it now, so it's good.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, people don't want to know about our kids or fires, they want to know about how do I achieve success, and how do I grow my practice, and how, what is, what's the secret sauce? So I'm gonna start with this. There's a lot of marketing advice out there. There's a lot of, if you look at the episodes on my podcast, the interviews that I've done, probably 10, 15% of my guests are marketing people, if not more than that. When I do an event, the most natural thing for me to do is to bring marketers on. People want to know, like law firm owners want to know, how do I grow my business? How do I bring in more clients? That's the number one question that they're asking before they ask, how do I bring home profit to my house? Which is something that really bothers me, because sometimes you don't need more clients to be more profitable. But that is something that everyone wants to know. And there's so much information being thrown at us about, oh, you gotta write blog posts and do SEO, and you rank well in Google My Business, and you've got to, show up in the map pack, and you've got to run ads, and you've got to do Google PPC, and you've got to, do you have a billboard? You need a billboard too, right? So how do you cut through the noise and know what is the right thing for your firm?
Well, I think you bring up such an important point, because it's not always about how do I get more leads, more leads, more leads, more leads. I need more volume, right? Sometimes, more often than not, the sort of lowest hanging fruit is taking a step back, not necessarily, investing or throwing more money at just increasing your lead volume, but more so, how can you improve the quality of the leads that are coming through, and then nurturing those leads, not ignoring them if they don't sign right away. That is, I always, that's kind of the first place that I normally go with the law firms that I talk to is, okay, so you're getting leads and, people are interested in your services. What is your process? What does your process look like? Is it systematized? Do you have tracking in place? Are you providing them with any sort of educational, useful content, right? So, you have to assume that a group, if not maybe a large group of the prospective clients, the leads that are coming in, they may not be ready to hire you right now. They may not be ready to kind of book that consult or give you a call. Perhaps they're looking to gather more information. They're looking to get some of their questions answered. They're interviewing multiple attorneys. How can you provide value, stand out, and really just convey that you're caring and answer their questions until they are ready to sign? That is a gap that I see so often is, well, they inquired, they didn't sign up right away, and that's that, right? So that really is the lowest hanging fruit. It's, in my opinion, if you're looking to kind of improve your existing marketing today, look at that gap and look at how you can fill it, right? Can you create a short email drip series that, might take you a few hours to create, but once you have it, you can use it year after year after year. It's pretty timely, maybe some small tweaks here and there, but anything you can do, create once and use many times. And then how can you automate that, right? So you can't be kind of manually trying to communicate with all of your leads and all of your new clients, all of your past clients. It's just not sustainable, right? So once you have
it's not in a manual process, right?
Right, exactly. Like if you're manual one by one trying to, stay in touch and reach out, like, that's really not sustainable. But when you're talking about automating the system and, looking in some very basic email marketing software, even something like MailChimp, where you can just create an auto drip series for very low cost, it's those kinds of processes and systems. Once you have them in place, they will pay off year over year.
Yeah, it's interesting because we just released an episode 142, and I don't know when this is getting released. I don't have the calendar in front of me, but couldn't have been too many episodes back. But episode 142, which released actually the day that we're recording this, we took the session that Maddie Martin from Smith AI did in the Law Firm Growth Summit of 2019 last December, and published it as a podcast episode. And the episode title is Repeatable and Scalable Growth Using 7 Sales Steps with Maddie Martin. You can get it, folks, at profitwithlaw.com/142, profitwithlaw.com/142. And what's interesting is that Maddie goes through a lot of the same things that you're talking about, which is really closing the gap between the leads that come in and producing sales on the other side by creating a system around it. And one of the things that she highlights is the Clio Trends Report from 2019. And I don't remember the exact metric right now, but it was something like 2/3. So Clio, in their research, they reached out to 2,000 law firms as if they were a prospective client. And they reached out to 2,000 law firms, and 2/3 of the law firms, they either did not answer the phone or did not return a voicemail message. 2/3, which means that there's 66% of the people listening to this, 66% of the law firms out there that you're getting leads. You don't have a system in place to handle that, whether it's somebody answering the phone or whether it's the automation, the collection of user information on your website, things like that. So one thing that Smith AI does really nicely, and I'm going to give them a plug here because I love them and because she introduced the two of us. Smith AI handles the manual conversation. Smith AI handles, okay, what if somebody gets to my site? Well, we've got a chat bot that we install on your site, and you can start a conversation with a live person on the other side. That's one of our, people. So if you don't know, folks, Smith AI is a virtual reception service, but they take it to the next level with their chatbot service. And you can get a free chatbot set up for your law firm with white glove setup. You don't have to do anything. They do it all for you. And you can get $100 off of your first month if you sign up with Smith AI using, I think our code is ProfitLaw100. We're going to put it in the show notes so that we're not guessing. But I invite you to try them out and check it out. That handles okay, somebody calls me, I answer the phone. Somebody messages me on my website, I answer the message. But there's so much in between, right? People are hitting my website all the time. And why are they not picking up the phone to call me? Probably because that's the only option we're giving them, right? So what's the right step, or how do you resurrect your Google pay-per-click that you're paying for, your blog post that you're doing, your SEO juice that you're getting? All of it is funneling back to somebody hitting your website, and maybe there's not a next step. So what's the right next step?
Yeah, man. I mean, I hear that all the time. And I will say we love Smith.ai as well. Just briefly, before I directly answer that question, when we were building our campaign sending software, Marketing Amplifier, as a fun sort of experiment, me and my team, we filled out 100 contact forms on 100 law firm websites. We were saying, we are ready to hire you. Basically, we have an immediate legal need and we need your assistance. Out of the 100 direct contact forms that we filled out, only 10 responded out of the 100. And of those 10, only 2 actually gave us a call. So the others just either emailed or we got some sort of automated response. So, to your point, there is so much opportunity, even that in that initial follow-up. Someone who is interested in hiring you now, you gotta be on that, and you gotta systematize it, you have to automate it. So back to, once you have to assume, and there is no doubt that you have visitors to your site who just aren't ready to call you, right? And especially if that's the only option that you're giving them. I look at hundreds of law firm sites, and very, very few of them offer anything but book a free consult, give us a call, contact form, kind of basic information. Well, what if, you have visitors who they're just not quite sure, they're confused, right? They need to get their questions answered, and they're on your website for a reason, right? So why not offer them some educational, high value information, coming from you, branded with, of course, your contact info, your logo, maybe your headshot, maybe a brief bio, something like that. But for the most part, it's educational, value-based content. So why not maybe put an FAQ pop-up on your website, for instance? Maybe it's an exit intent pop-up. So as they're going to leave your site, as they're going to kind of X out of your site, at the last minute, a pop-up appears offering a lengthy educational FAQ booklet in exchange for their contact information. They receive that booklet or those materials automatically to their inbox, and you collect their contact info. You're able to stay in touch with them. We always recommend sending a digital shock and awe package is what we call it, right? So it's this wow package of comprehensive educational material that they get right away, and then dripping out, typically I suggest weekly, especially to start, weekly emails. Again, answer common questions. You know better than anyone, kind of, the common questions that you get from prospective clients or from your current clients. Break those up, answer, a question per email, and you can create a pretty lengthy drip series that way. And the most important thing is you're collecting contact information of those prospects that would kind of otherwise leave without a trace. And also an important part of that is qualifying those folks. So rather than just asking for contact information and having, someone at your office or you yourself call all those folks, how about ask a couple of very simple qualifying questions, multiple choice questions. I always suggest asking how immediate is your legal need, and that can range, maybe you have 3 or 4 options, a drop down of anywhere from immediately, please call me now, to, sort of just gathering more information, kind of, where are they in that kind of spectrum of need. That will help you kind of prioritize your urgency of follow-up. And also asking a question that will give you some more insight into kind of the severity of their case. In other words, you probably would be able to come up with this question better than anyone, but it's you don't want to have to waste your time reaching out to folks who you won't be able to help, right? So how can you kind of identify those folks that really fall into your kind of sphere of influence and really allow you to kind of do a little pre-screening before you or someone in your office even is reaching out.
Yeah, I think that part of the way to look at this is there's this idea in marketing that the first step is awareness, right? Now, awareness, there's 3 levels of awareness. Somebody could be aware of the problem they're having. They could be aware of the solution to their problem, and then they could be aware that you provide that solution. So there's 3 different levels of awareness. And what happens is that when somebody happens on your website, you don't know what level of awareness they're at. If they're at the first step, they know they have a problem, they're first looking for a solution, they don't know they need to book a call with you. They need to know what's the solution to the problem, and then they need to know that you provide that solution. So you don't know when somebody's landing on your website which level of awareness they're at. So you kind of need to have your website set up to handle the different people that arrive there. Are you here because you're experiencing this pain point, because you have this problem? If you're a family law attorney, are you here because you think you're getting divorced, but you don't know what's involved in the divorce process. You don't know what your solution is. You don't know if divorce is the answer, maybe some sort of mediation or some sort of separation, or, so this is your first foray into it. You happen to land on my website because of some SEO juice that I have. Well, you still need your question answered. So I need to make it easy for you to answer that question. But if you already know you need to get divorced, you're just looking for the right attorney to do it, that's a very different person that's landing on that website. And now I need to sell my firm. I need to sell our successes. I need to sell what we did. I need to answer different questions. How do we bill? How much should you have to pay to get divorced? Things like that. So if you put yourself in the shoes of the viewers, the shoes of the person who's landing on your website, it suddenly starts to become clear what are the answers you need to provide. And that's the answer of what it is that you need to offer on the site. And depending on what they download, you probably want to send a different email sequence to them, because there's a totally different education chain you need to provide depending on where they're at in the journey.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. And, you touch on a good point there, kind of the more targeted you can be, right? So you want to speak their language, you want to speak directly to their concern. And again, if you have, I'm not talking about, spending months and months and months creating this content, but if you can kind of identify some core sort of paths, or, the most common questions and pain points that you see, then you can really create these targeted series that really will kind of drive home and certainly set you apart from other attorneys who are likely not doing any of this.
Yeah, we call that pillar content, right? You need to have some pillar content on your site that's the primary information you want to provide. Anything else is kind of ancillary to that. So you want to make sure that that's prominent, it's easy for people to find. And when they're reading that pillar content, that you have that next offer for them, that lead magnet, that way of collecting their information, that's giving them the next step from that article. Not that, here's here's a guide on how to figure out your child support, when they're still trying to figure out whether they need to get divorced or not. So the offer needs to make sense for the content that it's providing on that page, like you said, targeted. This marketing software that you created is very intriguing. I'm really, really interested in what it does. I want to ask you some questions about it. I wanted to first have some marketing discussion before we got into it, but I definitely want to talk about it a little bit. So the first thing I want to understand is okay, somebody decides to get this software, right? Okay, the software is going to fix my life, right? And this part of the problem as business owners is we're constantly signing up for more software because maybe it's the answer to my problem. So assuming that it's not just another distraction for us, and it's really something that you figured out that this is the right fit for you and you get the software. Is this kind of like the DIY, the law firm owner should be able to get the software, log into it and hit the ground running, or is it kind of the thing that I'm going to buy the software and I'm going to hand it off to my marketing company that I'm working with? Where is that positioned? And if I'm doing it myself, what kind of time investment is involved to really start using it effectively?
Yeah, absolutely. So our software is super simple to use. I know you probably hear that all the time, but it really is a piece in the puzzle. So what I always tell our subscribers is you can be up and running in 24 hours. So you sign up with us and our customer success team reaches out to you immediately to get your branding assets. That's probably the only kind of slightly time consuming part is we're branding. You immediately gain access to our massive library of consumer books, booklets, brochures, and we're branding all of this stuff for you. So, of course, your contact info, your logo, your colors, anything you want to do to customize the content, we get everything just right for you. But after that, things run automatically in that, you see full value from the service if you theoretically were to never even sign into the software. And let me describe what I mean by that. So we integrate with all of your lead sources. So no matter where you have leads coming through, if they're directly from your website, if it's through a lead magnet that we're actually adding to your site, if it's your Facebook ads, if it's your Google ads, if it's a spreadsheet of leads that you're keeping, we will zap everything into our, what we basically call our content sender software, so that all of your prospects are automatically filtering through, receiving these nurturing drip campaigns. And all that is kind of required on your end. So essentially we offer full comprehensive drip campaigns for every phase of the client lifecycle. So obviously prospective clients, that's primarily what we've been talking about so far today, those automatically drip through. So the only action required from you or someone at your firm is to simply drag and drop these nameplates from swim lane, from column to column in what we call a Kanban board, which will automatically remove them from the previous campaign and trigger the powerful new campaign. So when they actually retain you, when they sign with you, they're no longer a prospective client, they're a current client. You slide them over to new client column, and then they automatically receive a welcome series. So, create that great first impression with let them know kind of what to expect, what the process looks like, certainly answer their questions. And then for those new clients, they're getting what we call a reassurance series. So I always kind of describe this as almost combating buyer's remorse in a way, right? Because there can be, especially when there's a time gap between retention and when that visible kind of tangible work begins, there can be some confusion. So, if you put yourself in the shoes of your new client, you just hired an attorney who you really don't know very well to handle a legal issue that you probably are very confused and overwhelmed about, right? So the more you can kind of fill that communication gap automatically, right? You can't, because you're working hard on their case. They just probably don't know that, right? So how do we drip out educational content to those new clients that just let them know, here's what's happening, here's what you can expect, here's what will be expected of you, and keep them engaged and informed while you're doing the heavy lifting and really kind of taking care of the important stuff.
Yeah, I love that, and I love the way that it's set up. I do have a number of questions that brought up. So first of all, do you have integration between your software and the practice management software so that when somebody becomes a client, it automates that process, or is this a manual process that has to be put in place at the practice?
Yes, absolutely. So I should have mentioned that. Yes. So all major practice management systems, as well as CRMs, as long as they have an open API, which nearly all of them do. And if not, we kind of work with you to make sure, because really, in the end, it needs to be integrated, right? To your point, we don't want to just layer on an additional piece of software, right, that doesn't play nice and causes you more frustration or even just puts more work, more of a burden on your plate. So yes, seamlessly integrating is really kind of our top goal when during the onboarding process.
Awesome. So my next question, and you kind of mentioned them, so let's open that can of worms. How does your software differentiate, or your software or the whole suite product delivery differentiate from CRM applications out there? Like, what if I've got HubSpot, or I've got Dubsado, or I'm using Clio Grow or Lomatics? I've already got something built to have these nurturing campaigns. I've spent all this time building it out. I spent all this money on it. Is this intended to be a CRM? Is it intended to replace that? Is it intended to work with it? And what makes it different from the CRM that I'm using to manage my sales process right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we work in tandem with your CRM and or your practice management system. So we're not in direct competition. In fact, the majority of our clients use Clio Grow, Lawmatics. We are working on it's escaping me. Anyway, we seamlessly integrate with those CRMs. And when you ask kind of what differentiates us from those other systems, we're offering the content, right? So, you sign up with Clio Grow and they have amazing functionality and certainly, help you kind of track and measure your leads and your marketing flow. But you have to write the content, right? It's an empty campaign. It's a blank slate, right? So if we're able to integrate with that system that you're already using, essentially it's a seamless process where they are receiving the content automatically. So when I talk about these series, I'm talking about lengthy 6-month series that typically, it's comprehensive. So typically the emails are linking to booklets that are a couple pages all the way up to 50 or 60 pages. The program also includes a 120-page consumer FAQ book. So, there's a ton of content. Content is obviously what we hang our hat on here. It's we have a team of in-house attorney editors. The same attorney editors who work on our legal books have also crafted all of the consumer-facing content for for this program. So content is certainly our secret sauce. It's what allows us to integrate and really partner with a lot of the vendors that you just mentioned.
It's very interesting and incredible that you have this massive resource and people can have access to that. Just so I understand, when you're sending the people through this series, is it going from your software or is it going from Clio Grow? Like, are you injecting your information into the Clio Grow campaign? Because what I'm thinking is if it's sending from your software, how do I, when I go into Clio Grow and look at my prospects, how do I see the activity that happened? Am I now needing to go look into places to see what's happened with that particular lead?
Yeah, that's a great question too. So it is coming through our system. So currently that is how it is functioning. But you bring up a point that our team discusses nearly every day. So because that is the end goal, right? We don't want you to have to look in more than one place, right? So it's that kind of two-way integration that we're developing and building out now, to kind of really optimize that experience so that everything is in, so you're able to just sign into Clio and you see, you see these results. So that's kind of the second phase of what we're working on now, but you bring up a very good point and something that we talk about internally at length.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, it's simply because there's other communication that happens, right? It's not just what's going out from you, but they call in, they email in, that gets logged somewhere else. Right. So now it's, there becomes this match of information as to what really happened with this particular lead. So I love that you guys are working on that and that it's coming. And it's also good to know that what your current limitations are, right?
Yeah.
And you haven't shied away from that. So the way I like the way you answered that question. All right. So what practice areas do you address? Because this is very content heavy, obviously. So I'm assuming that some, like I have a client that is, working in FDA law, right? So there's these far off practice areas that are maybe not run of the mill. Right. Do you cater to those or do you only cater to specific practice areas?
Yeah, so like you say, it is obviously very content heavy. You immediately gain access to anywhere, depending on the area of practice, anywhere from 20 to 50 pieces of content. And when I say that, I mean books and booklets. So we have the full program built out in 7 core specialties now. So those include personal injury, bankruptcy, estate planning, family law, Social Security disability, criminal defense, as well as business litigation. We, on occasion, will, of course, receive requests from areas outside of the ones that I just listed. We're always working on new areas, but again, it obviously takes our team of attorney editors some time to kind of build out the full program. We don't like kind of offering it halfway. Well, we have this part built out, but this part's coming. So until we have the full books, the booklets, of course, the drip campaigns built out, we don't release a new area, but those are the 7 that we offer as of right now. And we launched in June of this year, so we're always offering, we're always working on new areas as well.
It's pretty incredible how much you already have. I mean, you only launched it 3 months ago, so you must have had all this content prepared before you even launched. It seems like it's like getting a Boeing 747 up in the air. Now you're in flight and it's time to get the next one in there. What practice areas are on the horizon? Like, what are you working on now to add to it? What are the next ones that we can look forward to having access to?
Yeah, so real estate law as well as tax law. So those are the 2, and it looks like probably after that IP, intellectual property. Those are the ones that are on our kind of immediate horizon.
Awesome. I love it. What haven't I asked you? Like, what do people need to know about the software that we haven't discussed? I mean, I think we painted a good picture of what it does, right? So basically, this software is the interface between your initial contact with the client and your final, getting them on the phone or into a meeting, and also even continuing that conversation beyond that, right? It's not just getting clients through the door, but it's also communicating with them throughout the life cycle of them as a client, and I imagine post-client, right?
Right, right.
How do you communicate with somebody after your engagement's completed?
Right. Yeah. So to kind of complete the circle and keep in touch for referral purposes, that's a really important part of the puzzle. We also provide a monthly newsletter as part of the program. So, newsletters are old school, but they certainly work. And ours is a bit unique in that, it is crafted by attorney editors, but in the end, you want people to actually read the newsletter. So you don't want it to be overly law focused. It needs to be interesting and something that your past clients and other contacts will actually spend a little bit of time with, when it's produced, and maybe even share it. So they need your services again, or perhaps they have friends or family who are going through a situation where, your services could be of help. Well, you're top of mind. And then we also help you nurture, create new referral source relationships and kind of cultivate those relationships with newsletters that are geared specifically toward professionals. So you might have allied professionals or other attorneys in your area who commonly come across the type of client that you're looking for. Helping you kind of build out that network, that referral source network is also kind of an automated part of the program that actually is becoming increasingly popular. So we're building out kind of additional content in that area to really, it's one thing to make that initial connection, but how do you really provide value to those referral sources on an ongoing basis, right? And stay top of mind so that, they think of you when they have business to send your way. So that's another kind of important piece. And we have social media posting and videos, everything, kind of every way you can use this content. We're baking it into our program and putting automation behind it so that you're able to syndicate and share this content very simply without really any work required on your end. And, you're really kind of able to spotlight this content that's branded for you.
Love it. I love the referral piece. That's a really great idea. And you touched on this, but I want to dive into it just really quickly. Getting clients to give you a rating and a review, or a referral, or a testimonial. Do you have something built in for that? And how do you navigate like the 17,000 different places where they can leave a review?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, so we do. So that's part of the kind of past clients campaign, right? So we're sending newsletters, and we're also sending feedback requests as well as online review requests. So first, we're sending a survey on behalf of the firm. Kind of an old school basic, here are the top areas. How would you grade us in each area? Leave comments. It's essentially asking for a testimonial that you can use on your social, on your, certainly post to your website. And then we're asking, obviously only those folks who provide positive comments. Then we're asking those folks to leave a Google review, Google specifically. So we're really zeroing in on that. Of course, Yelp and Avvo and lawyers.com, there's endless, directory sites. But we found people are sort of most comfortable with the Google interface. Typically they already have a Google or Gmail account. It makes it kind of removes some of those barriers, as well as, it has some other benefits. Fresh Google reviews will certainly help with your local ranking, and kind of keep you fresh on that side of it as well. So yeah, that's actually a pretty popular feature of the program, is we also help you grow your positive online reviews. Awesome.
Well, I don't have any more questions. I think the biggest thing for people are going to look at is how does this fit in my overall marketing budget, my overall marketing campaign? Am I spending money on this piece of software, or am I spending, a few more $100s on ads, or am I spending it on a marketing agency? It's tough to figure out how to allocate those dollars. So I don't know if you have any sort of metrics yet, because you just launched in June, as to the performance that your clients are getting with the software, that can help make that ROI, highlight that decision, for our listeners.
Yeah, so the where we're focused is basically that conversion rate, right? So how can we help you improve the number of leads who are converting into high quality paying clients? That's really what we're helping you with. And then of course, the client communication and past communication too is kind of in addition to that. So unfortunately, it's pretty early. I wish I could sit here and say, we should be able to increase your conversion rate by 30%, and I'm not going to sit here and say that and promise that. But, our subscribers, we have about 162, maybe as of right now, I think 163 subscribers to the program. And, you really do see the benefits of the program right away. You gain access to the content nearly instantly, within 24 business hours. So, we're able to put these engagement devices on your website right away, FAQ pop-up, a full resource page, a video page, start posting to your socials. So things start happening, pretty quickly right away. And I did want to mention it's $295 per month. So there's no tiers. We just pack everything into one offering. No long-term commitment, cancel anytime. And for a limited time, we're actually offering a 30-day $1 trial. Basically, it's the best way to really kind of take the program for a spin. You gain full access. Even we brand everything even for you during that trial. And then after the first 30 days, it's $295 per month. So, we think it's a pretty darn good deal, but, we continue to kind of add value and add additional features that you automatically gain access to as our subscriber.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's great. I think it's a great price for what you're providing, because you're paying for the content more than for the delivery, right? So it's kind of like the delivery is just kind of there because you got to figure out how to get it to them.
Right.
But it's really the content that matters. It's writing all those emails. That's huge. Folks, I don't know how many of you have tried to write a marketing email. You probably resonate with, oh my gosh, I just sat here for an hour at a blank screen and trying to figure out what to write. Like, I don't even know how to open up the email saying, hi, so-and-so, and that's, do I write hi? Do I write dear? Do I just say, hey, what's up? Like, where do you start? So I think that there's a lot of value there in the amount of brain power you're going to get back and the amount of time that you'll get back by not needing to worry about any of that. So it sounds like a really good deal. And to get started for $1 with all those assets already customized for you, that's a no-brainer. So definitely check it out. What's the link? Where should they go to do that?
Yeah, thanks. So jamesamplifier.com. You can also email me directly at kprior, KPRIOR, at jamespublishing.com. Call me 714-434-5926. I love to talk about this stuff. Even if you just want some marketing advice, I'd love to chat, help you kind of strategize your plan. So I'm happy to chat.
Oh, that was risky putting your phone number out there. You're going to be getting a lot of phone calls. Actually, I don't know, but maybe let me know if you get a lot of phone calls. We'll see.
Yeah.
People are taking action on listening to this. But we're going to put the URL, the email address, the phone number. We'll put that all in the show notes. It'll be right here in the description of the episode when you're listening to it. Also, I don't know what episode number this is going to be, but profitwithlaw.com/episode number is going to get you the show notes if it's not showing up in your podcast player. Kara, this was great. A great conversation. And I love what you're doing with this tool. And I'd like to see where it goes. So keep us informed for sure.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It was a real pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right, folks, if you enjoyed this episode and this is your first time listening to the show, hit the subscribe button so that you get notified every time that we release a new episode. And if you've been listening to us for a while and you haven't yet left us a rating and a review, we would love it if you could do that. And the reason is, just think of it this way. If you have a law firm with 10 reviews and somebody else has a law firm with 100 reviews, which one's getting called first? So if my podcast has 20 reviews and another podcast has 100 reviews, which one's getting listened to first? I made my case. Go leave me a rating and review so that people listen to our show can get tuned into our great content, great guests that we have coming on. We're here 2 times a week, every Tuesday and Thursday, and I will catch you on the next episode on Tuesday. Have a great day. Thank you for tuning into the Profit with Law podcast. Your feedback is extremely valuable to us, as well as helping us reach more people with this valuable content. Please leave us a rating and review in your favorite podcast directory. Join us again next time when we are back with even more strategies to profit with law.